All right, I'm back to go over the nested if function in this video. So in the first video, we went over just the basic if function, right? Went over example 1, where we were expecting the output of an if function, and we checked them by actually typing these into the Excel, and those were good. Example 2, we were writing if functions, and I try to give two ways to write the same if function. Oh no, two different if function that will give us the same result. Two of the very good if functions. In case you see either way on your multiple choice, on your homework, or on your final exam. So there's more than one way to get the right answer right. So example 2 and 3 were actually writing the if function, and I put something like number 2 on your final exam. Figuring out the shipping problem. Let's do something a little more complicated. It's called nested if function. Why don't I go ahead and type up the learning objective down here for example 4. We're going to explore learning objective 2 is to explore the nested if function. So real quick, I googled nested. What's the definition of nested? And this one's pretty good. In general, something that is nested is fully contained within something else of the same kind. So what we're going to have is this. Nested if function means we're going to have an if function, and in that if function, we're going to have another if function in there. So you're going to see if twice. And it's just a slightly more complicated way of, I guess, writing more complicated function. I mean, if you want something specific, and I guess if you want something specific, you need to tell Excel like what you really want in a little more detailed way. So, well, nested if function, you may have to write them if you want something to be very specific. All right, so example 4 and 5. 4 is just expecting the output. So the easy way, I mean, if you're doing your homework and you're like, oh my goodness, this is a little too complicated, I want you to still try, but here's a little way that you can do. You can open up an Excel. Now, I'm trying to add a third sheet and it's not letting me. I'll just go with, oh, maybe that's why. Let me add up a third sheet. And you can go ahead and type up that nested if function if you are just trying to see, hey, what's the output? The output is going to be R for the first one, but let's see why. Okay, let's talk about why the output should be R in this problem. So determine the outputs of the following if function, and right now we're exploring the nested if function. As you can see, there are if outside, the big function is the if function, but there's another if function inside. So let's talk about this. What is this? What does this mean? Now, first I'm going to go ahead and highlight the logical test of the first part. The logical test is if 10 is greater than, if 10 is greater than 3 times greater than or equal to, if 10 is greater than or equal to 3 times 5, which is what, 15, then we want Excel to say what? How? If not, now this is where they are doing the if function, okay? If not, then we're gonna have to do this. And let's decode this part. Ugh. But first of all, let's see. Should we go ahead and say how or no? Is 10 greater than or equal to 15? No, right? 10 is not greater than 15, it's smaller than 15. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to throw out the how. How is not going to work for us. We actually have to understand what this third part is saying. And what I'm going to do is I may just work on this third part here. And all you really have to do is just, talk about what this is saying. What is this one saying? The pink one that I highlighted. If 10 is greater than or equal to 5, then say R. If else, say U. So this is what we are going with. And in this case, because 10 is not greater than 15, we're not going to say how. We're going to go in and look at the pink part, the third the entry. The third one says, hey, you have to do another if function. Is 10 greater than 5? Greater than or equal to 5, then you should say R. If 10 is not greater than or equal to 5, then you should say no. Which one is correct? 10 is greater than 5, right? So the answer should be R. Okay, the answer should be R. So it's like a little, it's a little complicated, right? It's like you take the first clue, decide on whether to go with how or the pink part. And then because this one was false, we decided to go with the pink. But then pink is giving you another riddle. They're asking you, hey, is 10 greater than 5? If that's true, you should say R. And that's what we're going to say. If 10 was not greater than 5, I mean, if they had some kind of false statement there, we were going to say U. But this is why the answer is R. Okay? It's like a little puzzle. If you like doing puzzles, you may like this one, I think. Okay, but let's try another one. So, nested if function is just you doing if function twice. Okay? Let's take a look at this one. If let me go ahead and do the math here. Let me go ahead and do the math here. 7 minus 3 is what? 4, right? If 4 is greater than 2 times 4 divided by 2, what's that? 2 times 4 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Oh, if 4 equals 4, then what should they say? Then say, think. If not, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing though. Is 4 equal to 4? Yes. So what's our answer? The output should say think. I don't even have to look at the third part because 4 is equal to 4. So if the first statement, if this is true, let me just double check. Yeah, if this is true, then we go ahead and just say what's in the second position. So that's just to double check. So here, if it was this one was a nested if function, but we really didn't need the if function that was nested, right? Because it came out to be true. And the truth part, the true outcome was just to say think. Let me go ahead and double check this answer. So you can go ahead and type this in your real Excel and hit enter. We better see what word? Think. Think. Awesome. So yes. So before we get to like typing our own answer, typing our own what's it called, if function is probably a good practice for us to figure out what is the expected output of these given if functions. So, but you know, you can kind of type these in and see. Let's try 2 more. Okay, what is this one saying in C? If now I'm gonna go ahead and do the math, the PEMDAS part myself here. Okay. 5 minus, now 1 to the third power. What's 1 to the third power? 1, right? It's not equal to, 1 plus 4 is 4, right? If 5 minus 1 is not equal to 4, now by the way, what is 5 minus 1? That's 4, right? If 4 does not equal to 4 is true, then say, what word? Final. If else, go with the nested if function, which states this. Now the thing is, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I really need that part. Okay. Is this true? Is 4 does not equal to 4 true? Yes. Oh, no. That's false. 4 is equal to 4. 4 is not equal to 4. So I got a little confused with this double, like negative. But this is false. Okay, since this statement is false, we need to use the nested if function to find the expected outcome. Because if 4 does not equal, if it had like equal sign, then we're gonna just say, hey, the answer is final and we move on. But 4 does not equal to 4, that is a false statement. That is a false statement. So we're gonna have to look at this nested if function. So let me go ahead and take a look at this. Now we follow the direction on this one. Let's take a look. This is saying if 5 is less than 3. Now is that true or false? That's false, right? It's true. Then say exam. Otherwise, oh dear Lord. You see? Oh, no. It's a, guys, you notice something? This is a function, a nested function in another nested function. How many nested function do we have? We have three if function in total. So this is fun, okay. Otherwise, use the nested if function to find the expected outcome. Can our life be a little more, even more complicated? I mean, do we really need this? Okay, why not? Now the thing is, we are capable, right? It's not like we cannot do it. We'll figure it out. So let's go with this. You know why we're going with this part now? Because look, 5 is less than true. Is that true or false? That is false. Since 5 less than true is false, we must use the nested function. This. Now you know why they are saying, hey, that's a typo. This is not a typo. It's just the same, really. We got another double nested function going on. That's why. This is a little too complicated for these kind of quarantine days, I think. But we'll go on. I think you're with me. So let's go ahead and evaluate this last nested function, and that will be it for us. So let's take a look. Is this true? If 2 is greater than 14, because 5 minus 3 is 2. Is 2 greater than 14? Is true. If 2 is greater than 14 is true, then say next. Otherwise, say what? Monday. Is this true or false? 2 is not greater than 14. So what should be the final outcome? They better say Monday. They better say Monday. So we expect the outcome to be Monday by actually doing this ourselves. But you know, if you don't want to do this by hand, what do we have? We have Excel. So let me go ahead and type this in. I copied it. I'm going to go to Excel and type it in. What should we see? We better see Monday, right? All right, hit enter. Monday, da-da. But that's the kind of thinking that you and I just did for the last 5-6 minutes. Excel did this in like less than a second. It's a computer, right? But it's important that we know how to we know how to get these expected outcomes. Because why? You're gonna have to write. I hope we don't have to write something this complicated, but I know some of you are some of you IT majors? Maybe you guys have to do something like this in the future. Who knows? But a great way to start, like, I guess, programming, or writing some formulas. Okay. All right. Very last one. Okay. If this is true, all right, let's go ahead and talk about this. If, what are we saying? 6 times 3, that's 18 is, let me go ahead and draw the symbols. If 18 is less than or equal to 2 times 3 times 4, what's that? 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24. If this is true, then say B. If not, go with the nested if function. This. So let's see if it passes the first test. If it's true, then we're going to stop and say, hey, the answer is B and be done with. All right, is 18 less than 24? Yes, that is true. So what's our answer? The answer better be B. So we don't even have to be worried about COVID safe. The answer is B, and that will be it. So what should we do? We should check and see if this answer is correct though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. Go to Excel, type it in. And what do we want to see? We want to see B popping up. B. Awesome. So that's it. That is how we can expect the outcome of nested if function. And you notice how C was, oh my gosh, C was super complicated. But if you just do step by step, then we should be able to do it, I believe. Yeah, right, we can do it. Now let's actually write the nested if function, for example, 5 here. I saw one homework problem on it, like just like this. So why not? We should go over it. Okay. The owner of a mail order catalog wants to charge a shipping fee of 8% of the subtotal if the subtotal is under $100. Okay, so let me take some notes here. What are we talking about? If my subtotal is less than $100, I will have to pay 5% of my subtotal for shipping. That's the first sentence, right? If it's less than $100, I better pay 5% shipping. Okay. If subtotal is 150 or what's this? Oh, no. Guys, I'm sorry. I messed up. Let me highlight. I need some colors to help me see. The owner of a mail order catalog wants to charge a shipping of 8%. Guys, 8% if the subtotal is less than $100. But what's this? I'm going to highlight this in what? Pink this time. And I'll type this in pink highlighted. What's my? If my subtotal is less than 150, but what we should say is this: less than or equal to 150, but more than or equal to $100, then my shipping should be 5% of my subtotal. Does that make sense so far? Like if you buy less than $100, then you need to pay 8%. But if your order is anything in between 100 and 150, less than 150, less than or equal to 150, that's what they're saying, then my shipping is going to be just 5%. So the more you buy, the less shipping you're paying, kind of scenario. But orders with, the very last sentence, let's read this. The orders with subtotals do not meet these criteria have free shipping. That's the best, right? They are saying if my subtotal is more than 150, then my shipping will be free. Whew. Okay. So 3 cases. Shipping will be 8% if it's less than 100. Shipping will be 5% if it's more than or equal to 100, but less than or equal to 150. Shipping will be free if you buy more than $150. So quick question, if you buy exactly $150, how much will be your shipping? Will it be free or 5%? It will be 5%. So you gotta be very careful with these inequalities here. Either it is less than or equal to. It says 5% if the subtotal is 550 or under. Because of that part, 150 buying a $150 amount will still have 5% shipping charge. So just have to be very careful. We have to read it and understand it completely before we start writing the if function. So, all right, let me try this now. Now, this is going to be a little complicated. Can we do this? Okay, let's try this. So here's my if function. Let me try to write it a little bit. If equal sign if. Total is less than 100 and total is saved in what number? B1. Cell B1. If that is less than 100, that's just type it, the yellow part. If my subtotal is less than $100, I will have to pay how much? 8% of my subtotal. So far, this is the part. This is how should I say? This is only the yellow highlighted part. If subtotal is less than 100, then I will have to pay 8% of the subtotal. If else, then, if else will be moving us to what? Pink and blue part, right? So let's go ahead and talk about the pink and blue part. If the subtotal is less than or equal to 150. So here we have to do another if statement, right? And this is where we're going to do the nested if function. So type in if subtotal is less than or equal to 150, then the shipping will be 5% of the subtotal. If not, how much will it be? And if not, here will be more than 150, right? Then the shipping will be free. Therefore, $0. Now notice I closed 2 parentheses here. Now here's the thing though, I wrote something. To me that looks perfect, but who knows, maybe I'm wrong. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check my answer. I'm gonna copy this and go ahead and type this in here. Subtotal. For right now, I got $125 and shipping and got blank right there. So let me just try to make it look like a table. Try to make it exactly the same. Blue color. Okay. Let me go ahead and zoom in like crazy. And then let me go ahead and type in that nested if function that you and I came up together. Hit enter. Now, shipping for this one. Currency. If I buy $125 worth, then my Excel formula says the shipping should be $6.25. Let's see if that's true. Now, 125, is that in pink, yellow, or blue category? 125 is definitely in the pink category, right? Because it's greater than 100 but less than 150. So my shipping should be 125 times 5%, right? Should be 625, and that got the right shipping. That's good. How about we change the subtotal to $200? Now remember, if it's $200 worth, then are we talking about yellow, pink, or blue? This is more than 150, and anything greater than 150, we get a free shipping. So how much should we see? $0. Ah, that's good. Now what about $151? That should still be how much? $0, right? Now what if it is $150? $150, remember, that doesn't get free shipping. That gets 5% of that. So if I'm doing the shopping and my total comes out to be 150, I'm gonna buy something tiny so that it just goes over 150. Anyways, if I type in 150, I better not see 0. I better see whatever 150 times 5% is. Now let's double check. Is 150 times 5% really 7.50? Yes, that looks great. Now what about 100? Oh, I'm sorry. What about 101? 101 will still be in the pink category, right? This is more than 100. Therefore, we get 101 times 5%, $5.05. Okay, so that's good. Now, what if it is 100? Now, think about this. 100, will that be yellow or pink category? This is gonna be pink category actually, because pink is talking about less than or equal to 150, but more than or equal to 100. So we're still paying 5% of 100, and 5% of 100 is exactly $5. So this is perfect. Now, what if I go down to $99? If I go into $99, my shipping will be less, the subtotal is less than 100, therefore I must pay 8%, right? So this better be 99 times 8%. It should be $7.92. Yes. So we wrote a very, very nice subtotal, shipping cost, nested if function. And you know what, guys? Remember when we were doing project 1, some of us, we were getting the errors in the average for exam, right? Let me see if I can open one. Open project 1 gradebook. Sorry, okay. So I must have deleted all the files after I graded everything. But here's the thing though. Now remember, we were getting error message when we were typing the average function for exam, because average cannot be calculated if there's 0 number of exam scores, or project scores. And by the time you guys were doing your first project, you had no project grades in the gradebook. So when you ask Excel to calculate the average of no projects, it gave you an error message. Guess what we can use now to fix that? We can use the if function. And I would use the if function so that if the count of the number of project that you did was 0, then just say something like, hey, you haven't done any project, or give some kind of message back. That's what you can do to prevent that error message. Only take the average if the count of the project or count of the number of assignments that you did is not 0. But back then, we didn't really know about this if function, so we didn't do all that. But now you know, if you get a job later and if somebody asks, if your boss or your manager asks you, does anyone know how to write Excel functions? Well, you do know now. You do know how to use Excel functions, like if. We talked about so many functions, but if was kind of complicated, but you see how it could be very useful, right? It could be very useful. Alrighty, so that's it for this lesson, 10.2, and this is the very last lesson of Math 154. You know everything now. I'm just going to ask you to finish your last My Math Lab homework problem, and then take your attendance quiz, and I am typing up your final exam this week. So next Monday at 8 o'clock, you guys are going to start your exam, and your exam window will close at 9:40 a.m. because I'm allowed to give you 100 minutes maximum for your final exam. But you've seen all those problems already. I got one problem that looks just like this, the subtotal, the basic if function, not the nested if function. So email me, please email me, and some of you are doing a great job with that. If you are struggling with any of the final exam review problem, we have 1 week to prepare. Also, you want to continue to work on project 2, new car. I already got a couple people submitted their project 2, and they are looking amazing. So take your time. This week, you're working on your 10.2 homework, which is just 5 problems. It's going to take you 2 seconds, not 2 seconds, like 5 minutes. No more Excel homework, you're done. You're preparing for your final exam on your own with the attendance quizzes that I've been giving you. And then you are finishing up your project 2 new car. So let me know if you have any questions on anything. I plan on creating a couple more videos for project 2 new car. But the first 3 steps are there for you, and the Google slide already went over all 11 steps. So go ahead and start on them for me, and then I will talk to you later, okay?